Greetings and salutations. This is day 5 of the Messengers 2025 journey. I did not go live yesterday. I did post, but I did not go live. Greetings. I was excusing it away in my mind, but I recognize the avoidance that was there. I was definitely avoiding going live. I think this process of, meeting those edges and pushing past that comfort zone and, allowing myself to really show up, definitely feels very uncomfortable, and yesterday I think I was able to convince myself that with the post that I did, it felt, and I kept telling myself, maybe I'll go live later, maybe later this evening, and then things would come up and, it's out of my control. But yeah, I think, just now I was listening to, I can't remember which one on Self-Care Package. It was Londrell's meditation. Oh, they were maybe fishing. There's just this guy coming up out of under the bridge thingy. Oh, I can't zoom. But oops. Technology challenged apparently. But yeah, within this process of allowing myself to recognize all the ways that I am hiding, all the ways that I am holding on to certain masks and not allowing myself to really be seen. A lot of things in the shadow have come up. And I think a lot of things also in light, which I think, it's all connected. But a big part of the fear and the worry when it comes to what people might think of me or how people might perceive me, has made it maybe difficult for me to kind of put myself out there in a way that I don't know, people know, what it is I am here to offer. I have found great discomfort in talking about what it is that I do. A big part of it is I don't 100% know that I'm able to define it, and I think kind of within that, or digging into that, recognizing maybe what some of those fears are, And I was thinking about this. I posted something yesterday about, the way that thoughts work sometimes for me. And it's once I've had them, once I've gone through it, doesn't quite, stay. And I was thinking about this already, but essentially, I think when it comes to talking about what it is I do, there's that fear, that people will view it in, I don't know, more like thinking I am crazy, or, I don't know. Whatever judgments people might have, the idea of being delusional, although I know I'm not, I recognize, for me, like I recognize the energy that is present here, right? That is a part of all of us. It's a part of everything, right? And being able to connect in with that, right? And to talking about it just feels weird. It feels weird because I don't think I'm able to articulate what I'm trying to say all that well. Greetings. But yeah, I guess instead of trying to explain like what the fear is, just kind of facing that and talking about my beliefs and where it is I find my purpose in this moment, for me, I work, with energy, with the energy of everything, that we're all connected to, and not in a way that like I have access to something that other people don't. It's, the energy that we all have access to, right? That we are all existing within, and it's a tangible thing, and through meditation, through breath, through connecting with nature, through allowing ourselves to really, go within, we're able to kind of connect in with that energy more consciously, right? And for me, I think what I find myself doing, or just in general, is I can help guide, towards becoming more aware of that, that which you already are, right? I don't know what it is I'm trying to say. And I think part of it is also because it's not something that looks like anything, right? It is just trusting me to be someone that can support you if you're navigating through heavy, difficult emotions, whatever it is that you might be navigating through, and because there isn't that awareness of what it is, there's that kind of inability to truly express what can be done because, I don't know. In all honesty, I don't know, And this is not something that, is like a means of like finances or anything like that. This is really just wanting to be able to connect with people and to help, and to also be held in that process, like recognizing like it's kind of how we as human beings, I think at our core, are, meant to operate, to be here, to support, to really truly exist in community, to really truly be of service to the collective, by sharing ourselves, and not in a means of, pushing yourself past capacity, or, really it is just showing up and being yourself. There doesn't always have to be a like specific thing that goes through, it's really just being yourself and allowing yourself to to just be that vessel of whatever needs to flow through, you know, to be honest, you know. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard sometimes to be fully honest, because some truth is uncomfortable, you know. Some things are difficult to face within ourselves, within our reality, within, you know, this existence. Some things are very difficult to face, you know. But it's important that we face them, you know, and as we are facing them, recognizing all the things that are coming up within ourselves and allowing ourselves to heal through that, you know, not to turn away from it, not to hide from it, not to, you know, distract ourselves away from it, but to really to face all of it head on, because what we're seeing is telling us about ourselves, you know, and it's guiding us into our being, and it's begging us to show up, you know, to show up in our full, you know, beingness and expression, you know, and not to be afraid of that, you know, not to be afraid to just, you know, be you and to speak your truth, no matter how uncomfortable that might be sometimes, you know. Greetings. Yeah, I think it's just so important that we're allowing ourselves to yeah, to recognize the part that we play, you know, because we play a huge part, you know. We play a huge part in all of the things that are happening. And I think Londrell, right? He had a story up. I think he still has it up, and I responded to him. I sent it out. Maybe I'll post the message that I wrote, and you know, I was grateful for kind of the acknowledgement of the idea that there is chaos, you know, right now in this world. Thank you so much, Will. So are you. So are you. Yeah, the acknowledgement that he made to you know, the chaos in the world, and the idea that how it is we you know, kind of shift that is by bringing more love in, you know, and that's an important part of this process, bringing more love in. And that starts with bringing that love into our vessel, you know, being that love that we're wanting to see, that we're wanting to receive, like embodying that and showing up in that way, you know. And sometimes that comes in an expression of truth, right? An expression of truth that is a demonstration of a deep love of self, right? A deep love of self, and an honoring of all of the truth that comes through this vessel that we have been gifted, right? And allowing ourselves to connect into that energy, right? That energy that is running through each and every one of us. We are all connected to the divine, and allowing ourselves to, you know, open up to that. But at the same time, recognizing the things that are happening in the world, you know, all of it, like all of it is part of the process. We cannot just focus on the light, right? We have to, bring that light into the darkness, right? I think I had made a video one time, and the way that I was seeing it is just like a building, you know, this building with all the windows blacked out, right? Nothing can penetrate it, just this black building. And then you have all these lights on the outside shining that light through the building, but the windows are blacked out, so no one on the inside can see that light, right? We cannot do it from the outside, right? We have to go into the darkness. We have to step into the shadow and bring the light inside, right? And it starts with shining that light in ourselves, putting that, focus on the things within ourselves that we need to be looking at, what needs to be healed, right? What is it that is calling us to face, And we all have something, right? I know I have a lot of things. One of the things that has been coming up for me is rage, it's anger, and how that shows up for me, and finding a way to express it and realizing how much has been suppressed, for most of my life. Anger has been an emotion that I felt really uncomfortable feeling, a lot of guilt and like shame around it, so a lot of it was suppressed, and a lot of it also because you don't want, that idea of not wanting my anger to make anyone feel uncomfortable, not wanting people to feel bad or to, so holding back, certain aspects of myself and not expressing in certain moments when, and then it just kind of packs in and bottles up and then it explodes out, Greetings. It explodes out in ways that are not healthy, and I know for me, there have been some moments where, the expression of my anger has, it's not been so healthy. And I recognize, that that's not how I want to show up. That's not who I am. And I honor those moments for what it showed me, though, right? It shows me what's present, what's there, what I need to look at. Like, hey, some attention is needed here, please, So it's allowing myself to look at that, But even within that expression and even with that awareness of this is not how I'm going to show up moving forward, knowing that, I don't regret. There are no regrets that I have in the expression. There are no regrets that I have in how I've shown up, because all of it has guided me to the moment I'm in and the awareness that I'm in right now, So I'm grateful for the moments. As much pain as there might be within it, I understand that pain is a part of growth, and even when it comes to relationship, and all kinds of relationships with our friends, with partners, with family, right? All of it. There's going to be pain as we're growing, as we're evolving, right? So it's preparing ourselves for that and allowing ourselves to feel that, not to avoid it. When we avoid the pain, we're just pushing it deeper. We're packing it in, and that becomes like sickness in our body. So it's allowing ourselves to really look, and don't just like, not on the surface. We have to sit deep, and that's why we need like real community, and for me, I know that's something that I can support with, and it's just allowing myself to express that and to share that and to let people know that if support is needed, I'm here, and I know that if I need support, there are a plethora of people that are there for me. I am blessed with the family that I was born into, absolutely. We definitely have our ups and downs, our different ways of seeing things, our disagreements, but I feel, the love and the, all of that's present, and I recognize the pain and the fear and all of the suppressed, emotions that kind of lead to those more tense moments. I recognize that there's a lot of things that are present, and we have to allow ourselves to face the things within ourselves, or else we're not going to be able to face the things outside. We're not going to be able to look at what's happening and to be able to move forward with a clear, mind, because the world is shifting, right? Big shifts are taking place, and I think fortifying ourselves to face that, to meet that, to be able to take the steps and the actions that we need to take to, make sure that we're building better for our future. That is the work that's being done right now, the work that we're doing on ourselves, the healing that's taking place within our bodies, the actions that we are taking, outside in this world, how we're showing up. This is for generations to come, right? This is for our future. We're thinking about our kids, our future grandkids. The work that we're doing on ourselves now is not just for us, and I think sometimes when we can, keep it individual, we keep it just to ourselves, and it's easier. Well, it's just me, but no, there are generations that we are affecting. There are generations that we are, needing to do work for right now. So it's allowing ourselves to really recognize that, and it starts here, it starts here. And, within a lot of, more spiritual kind of communities, there is an intense focus just here. It can't stop here. The reason why we're facing ourselves, the reason why we're facing our shadow is because there is a shit ton of things out here that we need to face as well, right? And we need to be able to look at it and face it head on. We need to be able to speak to it. We need to be able to have conversations around it so that we can come together and organize and build better for the future. We need to put our minds together, and it's for me, I am such a disorganized person, and it's even trying to think of how any of this can even there's so many people that are doing stuff that of course we can look at, but it's still so much that you try to, all these things that have to be done, and it's no, focus, fortifying right here so that when we are looking out, but yes, that was a lot, quite ramble. But yeah, I know I kind of jump all over the place. My brain, sometimes just goes all over the place. And oftentimes, after I've had a ramble purge like that, I'll think back as what was I talking about again? Yes. Yeah, I think maybe the main thing, and for me, this 28-day journey that I am on, and that's what it is. It's allowing myself to look at myself and ask myself, what are the things, what are the things that I am needing to look at right now? What are the things that I haven't been facing, because there's a lot, there's a lot. And it's hard to face it, and whatever people might think about, me doing that on this medium and, in this kind of way, I think it's helpful. I know how much I have gained from hearing other people talk about the things that they're moving through, and how even in just listening to someone else express their story, I feel seen in that. It's like, wow, I'm not alone in that, so I think, it's helpful, and it's helpful for me. This is a helpful form of expression for myself, even though, I don't know. I don't remember where I was going with it, but yeah. Greetings. I think it's been a helpful form of expression for me, and I'm grateful to be able to navigate this journey, and it's through navigating it in this way that it's helping me to kind of hold myself accountable and actually look at things, to actually look at myself and recognize all the ways that I am holding myself back, all the things that I'm avoiding looking at, all the things I'm avoiding feeling. We all have masks, and it's just allowing ourselves to look at them. Yes. Are my thoughts on nudism? Myself personally, I consider myself naturist. I go to this naturist community down here in South Florida. I think a lot of people have a misconception when it comes to naturism and nudism. They believe that it's something that's sexual when it's not. It's through social conditioning that we have been we've been socialized to look at nudity and associate it with sex, right? We've been socialized to look at nudity as something that is perverse, when it's not in the realm of, in the privacy of your bedroom with your partner, so there's a lot of misconceptions about it. And I think, through conversation, I think with anything, the way to break through the barriers that we find ourselves in anything, whenever there is like any kind of disagreement or inability to relate to the other side, it's through conversation and not talking at people, not just trying to prove a point, but actually trying to share where you're coming from and to listen to where other people are coming from. For me, naturism has been such a beautiful part of my healing journey, in appreciating my body, appreciating myself in so many different ways, and being able to learn to love my body, because I grew up feeling very insecure about it, and I still have insecurities now with certain things. I recognize a lot of times when I'm, going to record a video, I might try to make sure that my hair looks like, whatever, okay, what angle, which, how should I sit, or, so still different insecurities that I have that, I think through this process as well is going to help me navigate through. And it's through conversation, it's through talking about these things that we're able to gain greater understanding, so while me being naturist might make people uncomfortable, the way to push through that discomfort is by talking about it, asking questions. And this is not saying, you should be naturist too. This is just saying, the more we learn about things and the more that we're open to hearing other people's perspectives, the more we're able to just kind of come to a deeper acceptance. We're always, I think people are so I don't know, we have these ideas of the ways that things are supposed to be. Things should be this way, we should be, and really it's just like learning to accept that, different people have different ideas and preferences of what that is, and you can't like force your beliefs and your perceptions on anyone. But we can accept that people have different beliefs, and that's not, as long as it's not something that is harming, another, unless your belief is that you are, the chosen one and you have the right to unalive and massacre, multitudes of people, as long as that's as long as that's not your belief. But yeah, I think it's learning to listen. I know it kind of veered off of that topic, but I think it brings up so much, because I do believe that naturism and nudism, it brings up a lot of discomfort, because especially on this side of the world, I think, because we have been socialized to, and that's why when you think of, when the culture that we have around sex and how we look at sex and how we talk about it or don't talk about it, I think it brings up a lot. It connects to so many things outside of just naturism, outside of just that it brings up like us and how we relate with people, how we're open to hearing people out. And yeah, and another thing that I have found so beautiful within naturism is when you're in those communities, like there's no status, there's no physical things that are going to indicate what financial or whatever kind of status anyone is at, right? You are all on equal ground. There's no, and I feel like a lot of times in the realm of the clothed a lot of judgments come from that. People can be kind of harsh, but yeah, those are the thoughts that came through in this moment. I appreciate the question, Will, and I appreciate your presence here, and anyone that has passed through. So grateful. I know I haven't really acknowledged. I think that's another edge maybe that I'll have to meet, is actually engaging with people in this space. That also feels kind of unnerving in a way. So yeah, perhaps over this 28-day period, of which this is day 5, but over the course of this journey, that is something I'm gonna also work on more, being a little less awkward. No, I shall not dim my awkwardness. I shall allow my awkwardness to fly free. Right? Yes. Whew. But yeah, feeling pretty complete in this moment. I have to check with my sister. It is raining. My nephew is supposed to have soccer. So I don't know if they're going to cancel that. So I will have to check with her and see. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. But yeah, I believe in this moment I am complete. This does feel really nice though. It's like a nice, you know, that like perfect like sprinkle, and it's like a cool breeze. And you know, it's Florida, so the heat is usually but these last few days have been pretty nice. I digress. All right. It's like, you know, getting off the phone, you know, sometimes like I'm a super awkward person, like getting off the phone. Like I never know how to do it. So, okay. Yeah. It's super awkward. It's super awkward. And it's like, I don't know, like sometimes I'm also like, I don't know if the person wants to get off the phone. Maybe I'm like holding you up. I'm super awkward on the phone. I'm super awkward in person. I'm a super awkward person generally. But I'm okay with it. I'm embracing it now. Yes. I am working on fully embracing it. There's still, I think, some insecurities that are there about it. But I appreciate you. Thank you. But yes, I will not hold you up any longer on this call. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for stopping in and listening to my ramble. Yeah, so much love, so much peace. Just breathe that in. Feel the energy of this space, of this moment. Just connect in with that and allow that to flow through you. The energy that's present within the collective, within each one of us. Just allowing that to flow through you. Giving gratitude for your co-creation of this energy, of this space. Setting the intention to carry this energy throughout the rest of this day. Sharing that, expanding that, growing that. Thank you so much. Your kind words mean so much. Thank you. All right. So much love. Peace.